Welcome to Rajiv Gandhi IAS Academy. This is N.Vijay Kumar, the Faculty of Ethics. Recently, UPSC has conducted Civil Services Preliminary Examination, and I hope every one of you have written it well and you guys have started your preparation for the mains. And those who did not write this year, this is the right time to start your long-term preparation. That includes the preparation for optional, the preparation for the main subjects, and with a smart strategy. So today we would like to discuss about that last part. What is a smart strategy? What is the right strategy and how much time that we need to invest and how much returns that we can get from it. See, if you ask any business oriented person, they calculate profit and loss, isn't it? How much that they are investing and what would be their returns, what would be their profit. Same, a civil services aspirant should also approach the exam in the similar fashion. How much time that you invest on a particular topic and what would be your return from that, how much that you are scoring from that. So that you need to know. Today, I would like to address, apart from other things, this particular strategy issue. Why? Many of the people fail in civil services, and those who qualify also has very high potential but could not get the desired services. What is the reason behind it? So this I would like to discuss, and apart from it, I would like to discuss about the most common questions that I constantly get with respect to ethics. The most common questions. First and foremost one, how to start ethics and what type of questions that will be asked and how to answer them. In the preparation itself, you need to know what all types that will be asked so that your preparation is good enough for each and every type. So no matter which type of question that the UPSC asks, you should be ready to answer them. So that's why you need to know that what all types that UPSC asks, and of course an obvious question that what are the sources for it. So let us address all these three questions along with the smart strategy issues today. Okay, I am excited. Are you guys? Let's go. The best way to start any subject is through syllabus. No matter whichever faculty that you speak, they always say one thing, that go through the syllabus thoroughly. What does this mean? Going through the syllabus thoroughly means you need to know the every topic, every subtopic, and whether you have covered it or whether you are about to cover it. So knowing the syllabus in detail will give you the clear picture that okay, this is what 100% of this subject is. In that I have covered 10%, 20%, 40%. So in this way you can get to know what is your status. At the same time, you can track that what all that you have covered and what more that you have to cover. So in this way you could develop the confidence on the subject as well. So for all these reasons, you need to know the syllabus thoroughly. When we say this syllabus, most of the people, they just flip through the syllabus and they just read 2-3 lines and that's it. It's gone. No, it's not like that. Knowing the syllabus itself is like a concept. Like in geography, when you are learning about Coriolis force, it's a concept. It's not a term, it is a concept. In history, any invasion of any king, it is not just facts, it's a concept, it's a story. In the similar fashion, you need to know about the syllabus. So to make it a little easier for you, let me give you that what that syllabus is and how or what you will be studying in that. Now in this subject there are nearly 7 chapters along with case studies, another additionally that has been given by UPSC. 7 chapters. Each chapter has its own significance, needless to say, but there are some chapters that are very much important in the exam point of view, and there are some chapters which are very important for application in the real life point of view. So both are important. We need to find a balance between both. Okay, let me give you a brief about these chapters. The first chapter that you have is ethics and human interface. This is the chapter where you will be learning all the basics required for this whole subject. All the basics, like what is ethics, what is values, what is the difference between ethics and values, and what is the difference between ethics and morals. Apart from it, why one has to learn ethics, why UPSC has introduced this subject into civil services, and if one follows it, what would be the consequences of it. And at the same time, there is one topic that I have to emphasize that is very, very important in this chapter is your determinants of ethics. Sorry, my bad. Just a sec. Sorry, guys. It's dimensions of ethics. Dimensions of ethics is the most important part in this particular chapter. Why? Because all your case studies depends on these dimensions. All. So if 250 marks is the full paper, so nearly 120 marks you will get for case studies. All the case studies depend on these dimensions. These dimensions are nothing new, guys. It is something that tells you or teaches you a different dimension to look into the same problem. For example, today you faced some small problem that what should I do with respect to this problem? You got this dilemma. Now usually we start thinking in one direction. Economic point of view, or maybe parents point of view, or hardly morals point of view. But these dimensions provides you altogether a different viewpoint to look into the same problem. A different viewpoint to the same problem. So once you start looking at the problem in different dimensions, your approach to solve it altogether changes. The solution in the first instance looks correct, might seem wrong after learning the dimensions of ethics. So that's why this particular topic is very, very important. Under this topic, you will be learning about utilitarian approach, rights approach, justice approach, common good approach, and virtue approach. So these are 5 dimensions, 5 angles to look into one problem. So that's why this topic is very, very important. Next one, here you will be learning about public-private relationships. What is a public relationship? What is a private relationship? When your public relationships and private relationship coincide with each other, how it leads to conflict of interest. So when your wife is asking you to do some favors with the job, that's conflict of interest. When your friend is asking some money from your official organization's account, or when you want to grab some money from your organization's account and use it for your personal purposes, all these are examples of conflict of interest. So this you will be learning here, and how to avoid or how to overcome such problems will also be learned here. Okay, I hope so far clear. Then coming to the next one is human values. What is a value? What is the difference between a value and a human value? Okay, society has many values, but how do we got some values? Every individual has some values now. Punctuality could be there, truth or honesty, integrity. Many values are there. But how do you got those values? This you will be learning it here. Okay. Then after that, the next chapter is attitude. So what is an attitude? See, generally we have a misconception to use the word attitude. when someone is not behaving properly, when someone is not talking to you, so you start feeling like that person has very high attitude, ज़्यादा भाव दिखा रहा है. So this is not the case. The term attitude refers altogether a different one. So that's why first we need to take away this misconception on the word attitude. Then you will be learning that what are the components of attitude and how society influences your attitude. Society is there, those society or those families or those people influence your attitude. How do they do that? You will be learning it here. Apart from this, if you want to influence others' attitude, how can you do that? You want to change someone else's attitude. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Being an IAS and IPS officer, you have to change the attitudes of the people. For example, Swachh Bharat mission was introduced. People were reluctant to construct toilets at the home. But you have to convince them to change this attitude. Correct? So those things that you will be learning in this particular attitude chapter. Okay? Then comes your aptitude chapter. In the aptitude chapter, you will be learning about how important it is to have aptitude and what is the difference between attitude and aptitude. Also, you will be learning about other foundational values. Other foundational values for civil servants. So UPSC has given certain list that these are the basic values that every civil servant should have. What are those? Integrity, impartiality, objectivity, empathy, compassion, dedication towards work. So likewise, it has given a list. And let me stress at this part that in the exam it asks the question directly that mention any three the most important values for a public servant. Now you have the ready-made answer. All you need to do is you need to explain all those values there, those three. Understood? So that's why learning the syllabus or knowing the syllabus is very, very important. Then after this, what you have is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. Now we know about IQ. Then what is this EQ? Emotional intelligence is calculated by emotional quotient. It calculates your ability to control the emotions and use the emotions to get the work done. Then emotions of whom? Emotions of yours as well as others. Then you might ask, sir, is it possible to control the emotions of others? Yes, definitely. When a mother consoles a child, what mother is doing? A mother is controlling the emotions of the child. When your friend is sad, you're going there, sitting with your friend and trying to change his mood. What you're exactly doing? You're exactly trying to change the emotions of your friend. So it is possible to change, to control the emotions of others. But it is a skill. Not all can do that. So if we develop these skills, then it is scientifically proven that the persons with high EQ never fails. Never fails. It's such a powerful tool. So we will be learning that what is emotional intelligence, how we can develop the emotional intelligence, and how we use the emotional intelligence in governance or public administration. In the government related aspects, how we can use this emotional intelligence. So this is what we will learn here. Then next one is contribution of moral thinkers. Now guys, I need to stress one thing over here. In this particular chapter, it is asking that moral thinkers you need to learn. Why? To increase your philosophical standpoint. But the problem is some institutes and some institute materials has given so many moral thinkers, 30, 40 moral thinkers. Do we need to do PhD in philosophy? Nahi na? No na. We want to clear the exam, that's it. So we should not even try to read all 30 or 40 moral philosophers. Please don't do that. It is a mistake. Then what is the right method? Learn 4 to 5 moral thinkers here and 4 to 5 moral thinkers from the world. So nearly 8 to 10 moral thinkers that you will be studying. Okay? 8 to 10 moral thinkers. That is good enough to raise your philosophical stand from your present level to little higher level. Then why do we need little higher philosophical standpoint? I'll tell you. In the next slides, when we deal with the statement based questions, we need to analyze ourselves within philosophical manner. Even in essay, nowadays, both the essays, section 1 and section 2 essays are highly philosophical. If you look into the 2021 essay paper, it is very much evident that we should have certain philosophical knowledge. So for that purpose, we study 4 to 5 philosophers from India and 4 to 5 philosophers from the Western countries. Understood? Okay. Now going to the next one. Public service. So ethics in public administration, and after that probity in governance. Ethics in public administration and probity in governance. So here you will be learning in these two chapters whatever that you have learned in the previous chapters, you try to implement or you try to apply it to public administration and governance. In public administration, how you will do? So you will be, while making laws, rules and regulations, how we can apply the ethical conscience to frame a better laws, better rules or better regulations. Okay. Apart from that, you will also be learning that why one should have high ethical standards or moral standards when they are occupying the public servant or when they are occupying the public offices. So those things that you will see in this chapter. Now in the next one you will see the similar one, that in the governance how we apply ethics. For example, Right to Information Act, Citizen Charter. So empowering the citizens to take their own decisions itself is an ethical one, isn't it? It's just the application of the ethics that we have learned so far. And apart from this, you will also be learning about a code of ethics and code of conduct. What is the difference between these two? And at the same time, corruption, international funding, international relations related aspects. So all these things that we learn in this particular chapter. And last, they have mentioned in the end the case studies. But guys, please do not follow this approach. Don't. Because case studies has to be dealt at every topic. Starting from the first chapter till the last chapter, you should be solving the case studies. If you think that let me read everything first and then I'll go with the case studies, means your approach is absolutely wrong. It will not work. The right approach is, when you're reading a topic, then itself go for the case study on that particular topic and understand it and go to the next one. Okay? So in my classes, I always follow this approach, that whenever I deal with any one particular topic, any topic, read from the first chapter what is ethics or dimensions of ethics or public-private relationships, even here right to information or code of conduct, whatsoever topic that you take, every topic I take up a case study and we try to relate the theoretical knowledge with the practical application. That is the way that you come up, or that is the only way that you could solve the case studies in a comprehensive manner. Okay, clear? Then coming to the next one, we have seen the syllabus. Now let me show you the trend, how UPSC has asked the questions in 2021. Value based questions, the highest number of questions that went to value based questions, means they ask, so write any 5 important values, write any 10 important values for public servants or civil servants or for citizens. So in this way, the values based questions are highest. And where do you read these value based questions or values? You will be reading these values under multiple chapters. In the first chapter, you will be learning few values. In the third chapter, aptitude and foundational values, again you will be learning couple of values. Understood? So throughout the course, you will be learning about different values. Clear? Then statement based questions. So this year they have asked 3 statement based questions, and many people face little issue with the statement based questions because they have read multiple philosophers and they remembered none. When you read even a small one, you need to remember what is their thought processes, how they are applying their knowledge to any one particular problem, any one particular concept. So you need to look from the shoes of that philosopher. So that's why even if you are reading 8 to 10, I deal 8 to 10 philosophers in the class, and all the statement based questions could be addressed with only of those 8 to 10. So you can still do it, but all you need to do is to make sure that whatever philosophers that you are reading, you put yourself in their position and able to apply to the concepts that is needed. And next one is based on the applied ethics and emotional intelligence. They have asked 1 and 2 questions on that, and the rest that they have asked 1 questions. Okay, so I agree that if you look at the marks that is being given or the weightage, the highest goes to the values based and statement based. Now when it comes to the real life application, how do we solve the problems in the real life and how do we get the success, emotional intelligence also plays a very crucial role. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now we have seen the trend. Now let us look at the strategy that we usually employ. Okay, shall we see whether you are following the right strategy or not? Let me give you with data. See, if I give you anything without the data, that becomes individual's opinion. So let me give you the data. 2021 and 2020, I have taken the recent ones only. Prelims cutoff, so and so, it's okay. Mains cutoff, 745 and 736. And final cutoff is 953 and 944. Now if you observe this, you don't get much from this, can you? All you are getting is, I need to score this much to cross that. But the real question is, how can I get that much count? How can I get it? From where that I should invest my energy? This is the real question, isn't it? Now coming to that part, let me ask you a couple of questions. How much time that you invest for preparing for optional? How much time? 1 month? No, definitely not. 2 months? Probably. 3 months or 3.5 months? Yes, most probably. Majority of the people take 3.5 months to prepare for the optional. Okay. How much that you invest? Let me write it also. No. So how much that you invest approximately for optional? 2 to 3 months that you will take. For GS1, how much time that you will invest? You tell me, how much time do you need? 1 month? 2 months? Okay, I am writing 2 months. Then GS2, maybe 1.5 months. GS3, again maybe 2 months. Okay, GS4, how many days that you usually give? Likely that most of the people give 7 to 14 days or 15 days. Just 2 weeks of time. Okay, let me ask you another area, that is essay. How much time that you have allotted for essay? Not even 1 week, less than 7 days. I don't know how many questions that you have written so far, but definitely less than 7 days that you have invested. And what is our returns? How much that we are expecting? Optional 300 would be good. If you are scoring 300, that is really good. Correct? And in GS papers, how usually people score? On an average, they score 90 maximum. 90 maximum. Except some exceptional cases. So 90 is the maximum score that they get. They get from 40 to 90. Those who score 40, obviously they will not clear. 90, they have a chance. Reaching 100 is very difficult. Reaching 110, man, hardly one out of what we say entire list have 110 plus in these three GS 1 to 3. Correct? Now if you look at the other areas, but for that if you go to the cutoffs as well, you need 730 or 740 or 750 to clear mains, and 950 approximately you need for clearing or to be in the final list. Correct? Now combine this. 300 you are getting here, but GS4 and essay combinedly has a potential to get you 300. Do you remember the name Pradeep Singh? Pradeep Singh, does it rings any bell in your mind? 2 years back he was the topper, AIR 1. You know, his ethics plus essay score is 297, whereas his optional score is 293. Like him, there are many people. Ethics plus essay score is more than optional score. Means they have the potential to get equal to 300. 290 plus 290, 580 marks. If you score here, how much more that you need? If it is 750, just you need 170 marks. Isn't it? Just 170 marks. You need 170 from 3 papers. 90, 90, 90, your problem solves. Isn't it? 80, 80, 80, very close. Sorry, 80, 80, 80 will also solve your problem, I mean to say, sorry. 70, 70, 70, again your problem solves. 60, 60, 60, you're crossing the mains. Understood? So if you score well in ethics plus essay, you will be saved in other GS papers. And if you ask me to the total 950, out of 950, 600 or 580 you are scoring in ethics, essay plus optional. The rest, approximately you need 370 marks. Interview, 150 average mark or 160 average mark. So 200 marks if you get it in GS 3 papers, your job is done, you are in the final list. And not just in the final list, look at this. If you calculate the difference between 100th rank and 200th rank and 200 to 300, look at the difference, people. How much? With just 19 marks difference, 100 ranks are apart. Means from just by, even if it is 1 mark or 2 marks, 10 ranks difference. Correct? On an average. So which means that whether you are getting your dream service or whether you are getting some other service is being defined just by this 19 or just by 2-3 marks. So improving by 10-20 marks is very crucial at that time. In GS, stretching from 80 to 110 itself is very, very difficult. In GS 1 to 3, very difficult. Whereas in ethics, stretching from 80 to 140 is not that difficult. What is the difference? 60 marks difference. Then how much time that we should allot, guys? Tell me. How much time that we should allot? For optional for 300 marks we are giving 3.5 months, but for ethics plus essay for the same 300 marks we are allotting not even 2-3 weeks. See where the problem is. Then how can we expect that your strategy is good? So it's not a smart strategy, no? So that's why you need to become an economist. Means a person who thinks as a business minded that how much that I am investing, how much that I am getting in return. So if you are investing 10 hours, so what is your productivity from that? If you are investing 1 month, can you get maximum out of that 1 month? So that is the smart strategy. Investing less and getting more returns. Ethics, to this subject if I have to say, if you invest 20 days strictly, end to end, 20 days. After that, every Sunday, 1 case study. If you do this, you will score this 140. You will definitely score 140. So that is only possible if you take ethics subject seriously. Am I clear? So that is what smart strategy is, where we calculate that how much time that you are investing and how much returns that we are getting in the term of marks. Clear? So that's why please do not neglect ethics and essay papers. Ethics paper, there are instances that people scored even 162. The number that you can never ever imagine in other GS papers. 162 is not at all achievable in other papers. We cannot even imagine actually. In optional, yes. I don't deny with optional. But with respect to GS 1, 2, 3, this score is not attainable. But people have proved that it is attainable. Even this Pradeep SInch has scored 157 marks in ethics. Understood? So that's why please take these 2 subjects more seriously and accommodate into the course structure, your preparation strategies. Okay? Now coming to the other parts, see, we have discussed the syllabus, we have discussed the strategy that is, or the smart strategy that is required, and we realized the importance of ethics paper. Now what do you need to know is what type of questions comes in the exam. Correct? So if you look at the types, there are nearly 5 types that comes in the exam. Let's look into one by one. Shall we? Now coming to the first type, straightforward questions. Straightforward or direct questions. What is this straightforward or direct questions? When UPSC introduced this subject a decade ago, so it was focusing more and more on these straightforward questions like what is ethics, what is values, what is morality, what is the difference between ethics and morals. So these are straightforward questions. Those who could read the textbook will easily solve these questions. Initially, 60% of the questions, theoretical questions, were from this area. But UPSC has drastically reduced its count. Now they ask hardly 1 to 2 questions from this. Hardly. They'll ask 1 question, but 2 is a rare phenomenon. Okay. Now, the second type of question, which became the favorite area of UPSC now, is analytical based. Analytical based questions. What is this type of questions? They take 2 different topics from 2 different chapters and they combine it and give it to you. They will see what approach that you use to combine these 2 and how you are analyzing, how you are connecting the dots between these 2 topics. This they want to evaluate. You can only answer them when you study and internalize those topics. Understood? Just mere study of theoretical things will not solve it. You have to definitely rely on, you need to rely on the analytical basis of your knowledge. Clear? Then if I have to give you an example, for example, conflict of interest you will read in the first chapter and emotional intelligence you will read it in the 4th, 5th chapters. Now, if I put a question that does conflict of interest shows lack of emotional intelligence? This you will never find in any textbook. They are connecting 2 different topics. Now it is up to you whether you agree, whether you disagree, or whether you say that both are possible. It's up to you, but how you are relating those 2 matters. That is what they want to check. Clear? Now the third type of questions that you get is statement based questions. In the analysis, the trend when we are seeing of this year paper, we have seen that 3 questions are from statement based. Correct? So what are these statement based? They'll give you a statement of some thinker, of some philosopher, and they ask your opinion on that. For example, look at this. This is the statement given by John Stuart Mill, and this is the statement given by Dalai Lama. They'll give you this question and they'll ask you what is your opinion on this. Majority of the questions, majority of the students get confused because they never read John Stuart Mill, or they might not have read Dalai Lama. Guys, realize one thing. UPSC is not asking what John Stuart Mill is saying. UPSC is not asking what Dalai Lama is saying. UPSC wants to know what is your opinion on the statement. So your focus should be on the statement, not on the thinker. Whosoever it may be the thinker, it doesn't matter to us. What matters to us is the statement. In the statement, how and what the things are there and how you are connecting, how you are analyzing, that's all that matters. For this purpose only, you need some philosophical knowledge. That's why I told you in the beginning that choose only selective thinkers, 8 to 10 thinkers, and solve the questions based on that knowledge itself. This year's question paper, they asked 3 questions. Now my students came and told me that, sir, we were able to solve all the questions, all 3 questions based on the knowledge that we had in the class. But none of the question came from the theories, none of the questions came from the thinkers that we discussed in the class. But still they are able to write it beautifully. How? Because, for example, if you take Gandhiji's opinion, you can talk about Gandhiji's opinion here as well and here as well, if it is related. Not necessarily we need to study the John Stuart Mill now. If I remember Gandhi's opinions on this, I'll write Gandhi's opinion. This is my opinion supported by Mahatma Gandhi or supported by Aristotle. Your job is done. Understood? So that is how we need to solve these statement based questions. And coming to the next one, indirect questions. In indirect questions, pray to UPSC that they will not ask in the year that you are writing this, because the questions identifying and understanding is a bit difficult. But once you understand it, it is very easy to write. The difficulty lies in understanding of the question. They don't give straight away the concept, rather they take things all wrong. Now they want to see whether you understand, even if they are trying to confuse you, are you able to understand the question and writing the what is required or not. So they will take a simple concept, but they move around it and they give you the question. Understood? An easy question, easy type, but you need to practice more to solve these kind of questions. Next one, needless to say, case studies. Half of the paper is case studies, right? And there is an increasing trend that even in theoretical part, they are taking situational based questions. So that's a good one, a very good one. So if you, in the first chapter, understand the dimensions of ethics, and if you apply it to the case studies, your theoretical part as well as the case studies part, both gets cleared. Understood? Clear? Now apart from this, if we come to the most obvious question that many students ask, which source to follow, what is the source? I told you earlier and I am telling you again, guys, please do not follow one textbook for the entire subject. There is no such textbook, no such material that exists. Okay? Yes, some textbooks, some chapters are good. Some textbooks, some topics are good. Some websites, some topics are good. Selectively we need to pick. For example, if you read Santosh Ajmera's, the first Ethics and Human Interface, the first chapter is good. Whereas when we talk about lexicon, Attitude and Aptitude chapter is good. Attitude and Aptitude. When it comes to the Subbarao, it is only useful for case studies. It is good for case studies, but understanding concepts alone from the Subbarao is a bit difficult. And by the way, this is personal experience, guys. If you might be having different experience, if you are following, it's well and good. But from my experience in the entire teaching career, so this is my opinion that none of the textbook is good enough for all the topics. Some are good for some part. We need to do selectively. So if I have to give you the comprehensive list from where what we can take, so this is the entire list. In that, second ARC fourth report is the most important one, because UPSC has introduced this course only after this recommendation of this second ARC, second Administrative Reforms Commission's report only led to the UPSC introducing this ethics subject. Okay, so that's why this particular report is very, very important. And quite often I get the students questions that, sir, do we need to read the entire report or should we read a part of it, because it is 140 pages long or 130 pages long? Guys, remember one thing, you guys are aiming to be IAS or IPS officers. Please do not worry for the pages that you have to read, because once you become the IAS officer, you have to read 10,000 pages documents, and now you are worried about just 130 pages, 140. Please don't. It is worth investing the time. This report, each and every page is important in it. Okay, I am repeating again, second ARC fourth report. It has many reports. In that you have to focus on fourth report. Clear? And these are the other sources that I have given to you. You can choose it based on the requirement. Clear? Now please, as we have discussed, prepare a strategy for how you are going to approach to ethics, how much time that you need to allot for ethics as well as for essay, for getting into the services. Create a smart strategy. Clear? So if you have any doubts or any questions that you want to ask me, either you can write it in the comment section or you can post it on our FB channel or you can mail us the same. the same contact details will be provided to you after the video. I hope today's session is productive for you guys, and I'm looking forward to have an engagement with you. In subsequent videos, I will bring up with the important topics, like what are the important topics in first chapter, or how to solve the case studies in simple steps, all these things that we will bring up. Okay, this is Vijay Kumar signing off. Thank you so much.